That's all right, yeah. Right, Craig, thanks for your time. So, all I wanted to do today really was use me as a bit of a case study. I've been seeing you for about probably 12 months on and off, maybe a little bit longer. Various different injuries that I've picked up through grappling. Probably not solely through grappling, years and years of maybe wear and tear on the body, playing sports, lifting weights, probably incorrectly when I was younger, and they've exacerbated and grappling has brought them on. So for example, I think elbow tendonitis was one of the first things I saw you with.
Yeah.
Currently shoulder injury,
Yeah.
and I think that's played out over the last several months or something like that. Just before we do start, what I want to say is I appreciate the work that you've done with me because you've kept me on the mats over the last 12 months.
Well, that's what the job is, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
To keep work with athletes and keep you training and such, because don't turn it off.
That's alright.
Well, there's numerous reasons why you compete or you train that, you might be just your hour alone on your own.
Exactly, yeah.
Mental health side of things, don't know what that is.
But yeah, you're right, people train for a lot of reasons, and due to the nature of jiu-jitsu, people pick up injuries, it's part and parcel of the game.
Yeah.
We spoke...
Jiu-jitsu is a collision sport, isn't it, as such?
Yeah.
And it does have a high prevalence of injuries.
Mm-hmm. It is a niche sport as well, and we spoke previously about how the injuries sustained in jiu-jitsu and grappling are likened to throwing sports, is that right?
In the shoulder respect, yeah.
In the shoulder respect, right, yeah.
Due to, so the reason I related it to that when I was talking to you is due to scapular dyskinesis. So that is, it's like improper movement of the scapula.
Right.
Yeah? When you are moving the shoulder as such, moving your arm, your scapula is supposed to move.
Scapula is your shoulder blade.
Your shoulder blade,
yeah.
And some of the research relates the prevalence of shoulder injuries is a high prevalence in jiu-jitsu as in overhead athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the term you use, overhead athletes. Yeah.
So with scapular dyskinesis, some people might probably say it doesn't exist. Others say it does, but we can't measure the degrees of it moves by looking at it and feel it's like a scientific thing. But you can sometimes see that it's not moving right. It's either going in before it comes up or it's lifting. So that there is some abnormality with the movement, and that is what can cause shoulder and neck issues.
And that could come about by, you look at the Americana position, using that, someone extending that too much before you tap in. That is going to stop you as it gets worse, getting your arm overhead, isn't it? Yeah.
But is it a shoulder issue or a neck issue that you're experiencing, or is it a scapular issue?
Mm-hmm.
So do we need to strengthen the surrounding muscles of the scapula,
right,
which will then offload the shoulder?
Yeah.
Or is it a true shoulder issue?
I think one of the things I've found in coming with you when we're talking during the sessions and the assessments and stuff is how we spoke about it briefly before. I might be having a shoulder issue, and I think I'm just going to work the shoulder. I'm just going to start doing loads of mobility work on the shoulder. But you alluded to it before. It might be a thoracic rotation issue. Is that what you mentioned?
Yeah. So say if you want to lift your arm overhead, or you're getting something over the shelf, then you need some extent of thoracic. So thoracic is the middle section of your spine.
Right.
Extension to allow you to lift your overhead. Yeah.
So extension being arching backwards. Yeah.
So if you're stiff through the thoracic spine, then obviously you've not got the range. Or if you're not got the rotation, then if you're reaching for something, you're overloading, because the hand really is just an extension of the shoulder and the ribcage, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're overloading something because you're trying to reach, but you've not got this. Thoracic's massive in shoulder pain, lower back pain, neck pain. You can get tennis elbow. I did my undergrad dissertation on the thoracic spine.
Right.
And there's not a lot of research out there for it. for some reason they've all concentrated on your neck, the cervical, or lower back, which is your lumbar.
Right.
You know, so
But you found that is it the cervical?
cervical is
So
between your neck, so
the middle bit then, what's it?
thoracic.
The thoracic bit, you found that does attribute to a lot of reaching overhead and stuff like that, yeah.
Stuff, yeah.
'Cause I know, I can't remember off the top of my head, obviously you'll have your notes, but when I've seen you previously with shoulder and tendonitis, we did do a lot of, like I think one of them was the reach through on the knees.
Thread the needle exercise.
Thread the needle, yeah.
So that's obviously helping to bring rotation in. So if you do it in a quadruped position, but you're sitting back onto your heels, then
So you're just on your knees and your hands.
Yeah, but then sit back and
Sit back, yeah.
So that's then we're trying to take out some lumbar rotation there and be more specific with the thoracic mid back.
Right. And that's sitting back on your heels, that's what that does. It stops the lumbar region being engaged.
Yeah, because if you're in that quadruped position, you can easily drop your hips.
Yeah.
You know, and then we're trying to take that out.
Right, I get you. One of the big things you see in Jiu-Jitsu is it's very much, I don't know if I'm using the right term here, but you're always in flexion or you're always concave.
Yeah. So as you're because you are.
Yeah, when you're shrinking, you're always or defending, you're always crunched in.
Yeah.
So that lends itself to a lot of
So you kind of become kyphotic, don't you? As such, so like boxers are kind of tight here. Kyphotic. And that, So you want to be strengthening the back.
So, like generalised, I know you can't speak to individuals and stuff, but what would be some good exercises that people could do to negate that effect of constantly being in jiu-jitsu, rounded back and everything?
So maybe things like cat cows.
Yeah.
Just getting that flexion extension through there. Extension over a foam roller.
So having that like in the lumbar.
Well, not so much in the lumbar, but in your thoracic. Yeah, I don't really ever say to roll on a foam roller in the lumbar region.
Right.
Just due to some research I was reading one time, and if you look at it, it is correct that there's no rib cage or any support in the lumbar region. You've got some muscles there, QL and what have you, but there's no rib cage.
Right.
So if you're gonna foam roll the lumbar, turn more onto your side a little bit, so you're not getting that hyperextension of the lumbar.
That makes sense, I suppose. I never thought about that. For a moment then I thought, I'm not press record on that, am I? We're rolling is good. Sorry mate, carry on.
So then you possibly like face pulls.
Face pulls.
Pulling,
either with a band or
a cable machine,
Cable machine on bands,
Face pulls with some external rotation. Seated high elbow rows. So you get people doing a seated row, they always pull it to here, but let's bring it up here. And you feel
it's higher up the back.
Yeah, so if you just do it now and you feel that's more lat, that's more shoulder blade. Yeah. That kind of stuff. So prone, face down, Y's and T's. Did you get them to?
Yeah, we've done them before. Y's and T's.
But obviously, I always close shot with the thumbs up or the thumbs down, just for the pull of the middle and lower traps. So when people train traps, you'll find that this is your traps. And say, although the traps are this big, there's 3 parts to it, like middle and lower, but we all just train the upper bit. So this becomes really dominant. And I'm not going to say the other 2 are weak, but they're not as strong as they are to the upper trap.
You described them to me previously, didn't you? We did.
Yeah.
So we see like meatheads with massive traps because they're shrugging up, aren't they? Whereas you give you the protocol of being
pull it
back,
and you feel that it activates it more. And then with your thumbs up, it's taking rhomboids off, and you're using more middle trap, and then bringing it up here above, like say 120 degrees. You're doing more lower trap because of the pination of the muscle.
So what we'll do, if we've got enough time at the end, maybe I'll film just a couple of them exercises, what you've spoke about there, and I can cut them into the video, like, just so people know what they were. But you can Google them, they'll come up on YouTube. All these.
So Y's and T's are on there.
Yeah, the cat cows will be.
Yeah, the cat cows are on there, but whether they'll be on there with the rotations,
right, okay.
Like that,
Well, that was something we'll go through then if we've got enough time at the end, Craig. Another thing I seen you for earlier on, I think one of the first things I started working with you with was elbow tendonitis.
Yeah, that was the first.
Particularly on the inside. Would that be referring to golfers or tennis? Golfers on the inside.
Tennis is always on the other side.
I attributed it to just over gripping in the gi.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've said it could be other things have brought it on. What was one of the first things that you kind of got me to work on? Because I was in a lot of pain with it. I was really struggling to grip.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of
isometrics, yeah. So you might want to bring a little bit of stretching in because it is loading the tendon as such. But with a tendonitis, the damage is already done really before you start getting the symptoms. And like I say, it could be an overuse injury that you've been training in your gi and you've been doing loads of gripping in it for some whatever, and that's just gone from once a week to you've started doing 3 days a week or whatever, you know. It could be that you've got an underlying issue somewhere that's overloaded that because it's not done anything to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So an isometric this is an isometric contraction. The muscles are working, but there's no movement of the joint.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a concentric and this is an eccentric. Yeah. So that's an isometric. So they do reckon, when you read the literature, about 45 seconds of an isometric contraction, but I've kind of started getting away from the 45 seconds for the upper limb.
Right.
Because if you think about it, if you look at your Achilles tendon, it's a much bigger tendon and you're using it all the time, walking and what have you. But this is only a small little tendon, so why is this one still 45 and that one's 45?
Right, so it's just a general time for every tendon.
Yeah, the load that goes through the Achilles is greater than that, so kind of start getting a bit away from that, you know, and reducing that.
So what kind of time would you say now? What's your protocol of what you prescribe now?
So
we've done it before where you've told me just to go to once it's fatigued.
Yeah, so I've started using a lot of just like...
So that's like your own limit then, your own...
Yeah, because I don't want it being too painful, although with a tendonitis, people will rest it, it'll go away, and then as soon as you go back doing something, it'll just come back straight away.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask. Initially, you are like told to rest at your butt, you need to be strengthening it.
Yeah, so you need to let that acute pain come down, but because the role of a tendon is to transfer the load of what the muscle produces to move the joint.
Right.
So you have to put some load through it.
So just resting it, like you said then, just resting it and then going back doing what you were doing previously.
You've not rehabbed the tendon as such because you've not put any load through it. But you just want to start off with low isometrics, and you're going to go to eccentrics,
which is just
downwards. It's just downwards, yeah. If you remember, then we did that, and you bring it up with your other hand and then down, or your wrist, whatever it is. And then you want to start building into concentrics, eccentrics, light loads. Then you're building heavier loads because then you're using more strength as such.
Yeah.
Then you want to be moving into plyometrics.
Just explain the difference between isometric and a plyometric.
So obviously a plyometric is this.
Yeah.
An isometric is this, no movement, but a plyometric is a fast movement. So this is the plyometric, so you're working on the stretch, shorten cycle of the tendon.
So for example, going back to the shoulder injury,
so skipping.
The isometric was the hold, the plyometric was when we did that drill with the
if you take notice, we only brought that in later on, because it's quite an advanced thing. Although it's easy, it's quite advanced.
And that was the, I know we're jumping all over body parts here, but with the shoulder in particular, there was a disconnect between my mind and the injury site. So that particular exercise was to try and get that barrier that I'm in no pain when I'm doing
as
that
well.
position.
So with injuries, there's the mental side of it as well, and you've got to start relaxing the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And we call it bottom up in top down. So if you're doing it if you're injured on your right, you're constantly thinking about it. So you're top down, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, and where you bottom up on your left. So we've got to start getting that back. You know, where you just fearless, faultless movements is what some people term it as.
Say that again.
Fearless, faultless movements.
Fearless, faultless movement
is what some people term it as.
Yeah, I think you see it a lot when, even though I've been singing about my shoulder, my back's been playing up as well recently, and it's not too bad there. But I've to talk about the wrestling element. I've rested a lot of the wrestling sessions just because of the nature of that sport. but I injured my back, and that is very much where, in my mind, I'm holding myself a certain way because I'm conscious that my back's gonna like tweak on me or something.
Yeah.
So that's that barrier, isn't it?
Yeah, well that can also link to your limbic system. So I don't know if we've previously spoken about that, but people think backs are made of glass. Is it due to your dad had a bad back, your uncle or your dad's mates and that, and you've seen it as you're growing up? So but then as you're growing up and you've made them memories, you might not think about it until you get a bad back, but then you're like, oh, this stopped my dad doing whatever he did.
That's when you said that.
That's your limbic system.
Yeah.
So you need to start breaking that down.
Well, you know what's funny? Completely off topic here now. I was speaking to my dad the other week, and my dad got injured. He used to play cricket at quite a high level, my dad, and he had loads of back issues. A fast bowler as well, so like he had really bad back issues once he retired playing cricket, and he had really bad sciatica. He had an operation on the bottom of his back, and I was retelling a story to my dad. I was like, do you remember when your back had gone in St Helens and you literally couldn't walk, and I had to pick him up and take him to Wiston Hospital? So that's only been like a week ago when we had that, when we spoke about that. I'm not saying that's connected to me actually doing my back in, but the fact that you just said that now makes me think, has that been consciously or subconsciously thinking of my dad at this age, my age, that now did his back in?
Yeah.
Could that
you
be
just had a
something
twinge and then you're thinking,
and now I've had to like...
I might have to lay off jiu-jitsu a bit.
Yeah, I never even thought of that, that's quite interesting. So going back to isometrics, plyometrics. So plyometrics we're talking about
is a fast, short,
and
yeah, so it's like skipping.
Right.
That is, then you've got your ballistics. So there's the kind of crossover between them, but to try and explain it to you, so you've got fast stretch, short and cycle for tendon in a skipping, that's plyometric.
Yeah.
Ballistic is if you was to do a bench press barbell throw, that's ballistic.
Right.
Because you've got the weight, you're pressing it and you're throwing it. So there's no deceleration, you're throwing it.
So what about a clap push-up?
So that could be
both plyometric and ballistic.
It depends. So with a plyometric, the literature tends to rate it as 0.25 seconds is a plyometric. So it's fast. You do not preloading it as such. So that's more ballistic.
Right. Okay.
You know, to produce the force.
Yeah.
So you're working different on this. So there's like obviously, you know, when you say there's strength speed and speed strength and stuff like that on the force velocity curve, that's the kind of things that you're working on. You know, the velocity. So with a plyometric, it's fast velocity. You're moving velocity fast. With a ballistic, I can not move as fast, but I'm moving the weight fast. It's a rate of force development. So you still want to train it in jiu-jitsu and stuff, because if I'm shrimping or someone's trying to come on top of me, I really need to produce maximum force in that length.
Yeah.
So you want to do ballistic weight training though, to produce power.
Yeah.
To push them off.
Yeah.
Such,
Yeah. But like you said, they all kind of, apart from isometrics, but plyometrics and ballistics are kind of a grey area. There's a grey area in the middle that you can kind of cross over.
Yeah. But you want to use isometrics in jiu-jitsu anyway, because it's an isometric sport, isn't it?
Well, they always refer to, you know, Gordon Ryan is. You've heard of Gordon Ryan?
Possibly. I'm not.
He's considered like the GOAT at the moment in Nogi Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
He's like the top of the tree. Whenever anyone asks him what his physical attributes are that make him so good, he's not known as being explosive, he's not known as being powerful, he's not known as particularly athletic, but what we will say is that he's got like high isometric strength. He's got a lot of, whether you call it high or a lot of isometric strength. So that would be what you're talking about.
Yeah. Because if you're trying to do an armbar on me, I need to be strong there,
Yeah.
Well, that's isometric, isn't it? Because you're trying to pull it and I'm just holding it.
Yeah.
So there's no movement in that joint.
I suppose like getting someone in a body lock, the squeeze, that's an isometric.
Yeah.
So
you can practice that in med balls.
Yeah, holding a med ball with different grips.
Yeah.
You know, I'd obviously produce a better yielding squeeze, wouldn't it, on body locks?
Yeah, and you're building that endurance as well.
Yeah.
Into the squeeze.
Yeah.
you know, you want to be strong at end of range, you know, because although here, you know, that's the end of the range of biceps. You want to be strong though, because once you're pulling it onto hyperextension,
Yeah.
you know.
I've heard it referred to as strength at length.
Yeah.
So what would be some examples of some exercises that would be end range, getting strength in the end range? What would be some examples of that?
Just anything, just
Like maybe a bicep curl.
Heavy weight.
Lower like the.
So if you're doing that,
eccentric.
so you're strong in eccentric there,
Right, yeah.
But an eccentric contraction is one of the. You can use a heavy weight because it's that heavy that you can't really hold it.
Yeah.
And you're just controlling it down like that. So some people have negatives, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of training, you know. But then I want to use a heavy dumbbell and I just want to hold it here. You know, might want to put the arm here or here because we don't just work in one plane.
Yeah.
You know, but I want to be strong throughout that range.
Yeah.
So, because the muscles obviously slide in and out of each other, I'm just using it to different positions where I feel I may be weakened.
Yeah. It's interesting. If someone does have an injury, obviously we're generalising, I know you can't talk about like specific individual injuries, but generally speaking, is the protocol to kind of just get, if it's painful, pain-free first, and then go through that sequence of what you're talking about, isometrics?
With an injury. So yeah, you want to do, how can I say, you don't have to be pain-free. People kind of get blinkered with being pain-free.
Right.
And so, if we don't want 5s and 6s and stuff like that, but if it's a 2 and a 3,
Out of 10 you're talking about your own pain
it's a
threshold.
fast scale of 10 like as such,
Yeah.
then you know it's manageable, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And but you would work, so at early stage you work mid-range isometrics and you go to inner range and outer range and stuff like that. And then obviously start working your concentrics and stuff, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where I'm going with this now. But yeah, so like I said, don't be too concerned. You obviously rest at first if you need to, and then, but that's only a short period of time, you know.
Yeah.
So it used to be the RISE protocol, but that's now like outdated, and we went to peace and love, and now I think they went to police, and now I think it's peace and love.
What does that mean then? What's peace and love? Rice was rest, ice, compression.
Yeah, no, it's all about optimal loading and
wow.
I can't remember it all. We put me in pressure thinking what it is, but yeah, it's just a way of Rice was just too basic for it now, like, you know, and we want to start boarding muscles and tendons and stuff.
And again, I understand that it's too much of a broad subject matter to be like to talk specifics, if you like. I'm just after a broad outline of if people start to get injured, what should maybe the first thing to do? Is it just rest until they're pain free? But now you've alluded to that out of 10, give you a score out of 10. If it's manageable, then you can start to look at maybe introducing a load earlier on rather than
Rest is not rehab, is it? So
No.
get onto it quite early, but just isometric holds in a mid-range.
One of the things that was an eye-opener for me, you can YouTube all you want. I did some elbow tendonitis, YouTube exercises for tendonitis. You start doing them, but they're actually like making it worse.
Yeah.
You've got to they were almost too advanced, even though they wasn't necessarily advanced exercises. For the injury that I sustained, they were too advanced.
Yeah.
Obviously I came to you and we were just doing simple basic things like forearm on a bench, heavy-ish weight, holding it for 15 seconds, relax.
Yeah.
And at the time you think, well, hang on, that's not going to do anything, but you need to obviously be aware of
because
scaling things down.
Yeah, because you've looked at YouTube and it's holding a weight and everything like that. It's not YouTube.
He's not going to get views, is it?
Yeah. So it's just not on, all the boring bits are not there.
Yeah.
You know, but that's obviously kind of stuff that you need to be doing beforehand before you start doing all this. Well, some of it on YouTube and Instagram is a bit too fancy, isn't it? You know, we just want to keep it basic. And
like one of the big things I do as a warm up for gym work in particular is I've just got a club bell and I hold it, and then we did, I don't know what is dorsiflexion.
So
supination and pronation. So I just do that just to warm up the elbow tendons, because I feel that benefits me a little bit more. Even that, you know what I mean, like you say, it's not YouTubeable, it's not going to get millions of views, but it's one of the things that you prescribe to me, having that elbow tendonitis.
Yeah, so you're putting load onto the tendon.
Yeah. Same with the shoulder injury, strengthening the the muscles in the rotator cuff.
Yeah, so when we go to the gym, we all train aesthetically. But what about the small stabilisers that are now becoming, say, understimulated?
Yeah.
They're obviously becoming more dominant, you know. So we need to. So if people get bicep tendonitis because they've not trained the posterior cuff, so the back of the shoulder on the shoulder blade.
Right.
So the bicep then is doing too much. It's overloaded. You get tendonitis with it.
So what the same exercises you prescribe?
Yeah,
earlier
just
on?
external rotations and stuff like that. So if you want to do a shoulder external rotation, don't prescribe using a dumbbell and doing it like this. And that is just loading your bicep because gravity is pulling it that way.
Yeah.
Maybe lie on your side, do that. If you was to say place your elbow on something like that, now that is more posterior cuff related because the arm is the weight's been taken off it. So now we're just more specific with that. If you want to do it here, then obviously there's other muscles coming into play there now.
Yeah.
You know, so if
So you're on your side, so then it's more local to what you're doing there.
Yeah, because gravity is then pulling that way.
Yeah.
So then the external rotation that are bringing it upwards.
Yeah.
This way. If you want to do it this way, stood up, use a band.
Yeah.
So it's pulling that way or that way or whatever. Rather
So
than
dumbbell
this way.
pull down and up if you're on your side, won't it?
Yeah, dumbbells pulling into the biceps, so it's holding that.
Yeah, if you're on your
But
side.
that way you're rolling it, but it's still
Yeah,
still these muscles that are bringing it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Just before we finish, mate, we had a specific question off someone, a member of the gym. Again, I'm not sure, you won't be able to just go into detail on this individual's specific injury, but a late stage MCL rehab, and Adam, he won't mind me saying, he plays ice hockey, so he's looking to get back playing ice hockey, and he also wants to get back on the mats as well. Is there anything, generally speaking,
Yeah, so
prescribed to him?
with an MCL, obviously, talking about knee MCL, it stabilises the knee in obviously moving like that. Yeah, I don't want to get too nerves like. So you need to have obviously done a lot of proprioception work beforehand, just standing on one leg, doing like Supermans, you know, reaching to different areas. Then, so I know he's on skates, but he could do it as a run. You just want to be running in a straight line, nice and close, building speed up, building distance up. Then you want to be cutting. So you want to be cutting, say, at 10 degrees, left, right, pushing off that leg. Then 15 degrees, 45 degrees, then you will build in 90 degrees.
Yes.
Then you bring in a bit of chaos. So, but controlled chaos. So I would be telling you, like, you're going to run, but I'm not telling you which way you're going. So you can't pre-load that leg and know that you're already going that way.
Yeah.
So you'd be running straight at me, and I just put my left arm out, and you just want to go left, or you'd be right. You wouldn't know until that last minute, and then you've got to turn or cut.
Yeah.
Bring in different zigzags in, and
would that be the same as we were doing some tennis ball work, weren't we, against the wall? I know that was for shoulder, but
so
that'd be a similar thing, getting you to.
We were doing that for feet forward and feet backwards
Yeah.
and stuff. That ties in with the plyometry for the shoulder as well. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so he's learning, and he's placing load through the knee and then cutting on it, so obviously the shear force is a knee rotate, because the knee doesn't just bend, does it? Like it rotates as well. So when you're squatting or whatever. So if you're going to load to press off, you need it. Should say with a bit of a knee, a knee flexion and pressing, that is loading that up a lot there.
Right.
And the MCL as well, it's an intra-articular capsular ligament, so it's on the outside and the inside of the knee joint capsule, and it blends with the medial meniscus.
Right.
So sometimes you'll get meniscal injuries when you've done your MCL.
Yeah, I've had meniscus tears. I've had operations on both knees for meniscuses and that, but fingers crossed, touch wood, I've never had any knee issues since. But so once Adam's started to get those like 90 degree and he's confident, is that then he can start maybe looking to get back on the ice, or does the ice come?
Yeah, but then that's bringing more chaos into it. So
Yeah.
then obviously you're just integrating that. So like, you know, he just wants to get used to being on ice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Again, like going back to zero, maybe just going in a straight line on the ice. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
and then scaling that up again.
Yeah. Because you've got to regress something to progress something. You're doing it on a solid surface, and then you're moving on to something. He's on blades.
So what about on the mats then? The same injury, he's looking to obviously get back on the mats training. Was that the same thing applying?
Same thing, yeah. But maybe doing more hip escaping kind of stuff like that, you know. What other?
It depends really. I mean, you can always, so you could come back with your MCL at a later stage rehab. Obviously you don't have to stand up. You could choose to just play guard more, so therefore you're not pushing off.
But you might want to be like, so you would have already tested like guard holds and things like that, you know, so you could probably start introducing a little bit of that already.
Yeah.
But he's obviously, as I would say, that you wouldn't want to be full on rolling.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But you in a drilling sense where it's controlled.
Yeah, no one's
people know you've got that.
Yeah.
You would have already done the pre stuff in your mid stage rehab, you know. But the more difficult part is, I suppose, is the
getting back into that sport,
ice hockey kind of side of things.
Yeah, and like you alluded to before, is that mental side of it as well, and he's got to be mentally confident.
Yeah. So this is why you would do it in a controlled place, you know. But you would. I mean, you might be doing something like just hitting with his hockey stick, hitting a ball or whatever. But you can't hit a puck in a controlled setting, can you? So you might be using a ball just on his skates, getting that used to being back on them, feeling that stability.
Yeah, I get you. No, that's good advice.
A bit of perturbation as well, just being pushed about.
Right, again, so that's that chaos again, someone mauling with you and grappling with you almost, and like pushing you and pulling you, so you've got a different tension on the knee. Yeah, I get you. That's good advice. I know I've took up a little bit of your time now, Greg. Are we alright just to do 5 minutes and then we can go through some of them exercises we spoke about before for the back? Yeah? Good man.
So, just 4 roll extensions, so try and keep in your glutes at the bottom. Just go into each individual segment. You might want to hand over here, you might find that one's a little bit stiffer, you know, you sometimes get a few pops and things. So put your head down. Right, so you see I'm not going past them bottom ribs.
Yeah.
If you want to start falling over in it, just do it on the side like that.
That's what you mentioned before about not going straight onto your lumbar, wasn't it? Yeah.
Due to the hyperextension of it. I was saying about face pulls.
Yeah.
So just right there.
Yeah, go on.
Just a normal face pull to strengthen the back. One like that. Then you might want to put your external rotation in. So this is then working on the posterior cuff. So we don't want to drop the elbow, keep it here.
Yeah.
And just rotate around it.
And that's obviously going to be a very light weight in it, so where you can really hold the position.
Yeah, because the external rotator is not big enough. So when you see people rock like this, you know, they're using all
There's nothing,
and stuff. Then this can be done, as I was saying, in a seated position. Like that.
Yeah.
So this, you see, you've got people do this, and you more like into your lats.
Yeah.
But you want to be pulling up.
Right, so flared elbows.
Yeah, high elbows, and you feel it coming through your mid back.
Yeah.
So in a face down position like this. So everybody does this kind of thing maybe like this.
Yeah.
We want to externally rotate like that. So the thumbs are facing upwards. And we're going to come like that. It already feels heavier.
Yeah, we did that, didn't we, for my shoulders recently.
And then, so a Y, this, we're going to internally rotate it. You might hear people saying, don't internally rotate, you'll get impingement, this, that and the other. But this activates the lower traps more.
Yeah.
So, I won't get the brain, hinge because I've been internally rotated.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go from here to here, like this.
Yeah. And that's going to work. Everything we spoke about before, for people crunching over and hunching, that's going to open everything.
In the back, and then
Yeah.
you've got a bit of a stretch in there for that. You can do, for several rotation stuff as well. You can do open books and
What's an open book?
So start. This is like an easy level one, just like this, coming over like that.
Oh right, yeah.
And then I go round. Like that. And these can be progressed. I do like in this position. Always following your hands with your head.
Yeah.
Because you're promoting thoracic and cervical rotation, and then progression from that is to do it against the wall.
Right.
So you've got walls that kind of stop you, it's stopping you from moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool, mate. Brilliant. Thanks for your time today. If anybody wants to get in contact with you to talk to you about an injury they've got, how do they do that?
I have a website, Instagram, Facebook, or just get my number off one of the signs around the mill, or off yourself.
Brilliant.
Just drop me a message or...
Nice one, mate. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Nice one.